Hey folks, welcome to another VR video. Today I'm showcasing a couple of quick clips of gameplay of Gungrave VR and Gungrave VR UN. These two titles are kind of expensive. They're ports of PlayStation VR content, and I really liked Gungrave I think it was a PS2 game back in the day, and I have to say these games are basically the same thing. The graphics are kind of dated. It does have kind of the effects of Robo Recall, but in a very terrible, campy way. Like, the writing and effects looks very reminiscent of Robo Recall, but it is not a room scale game. It's a gamepad based game for both of these. UN adds a couple of different interesting gameplay mechanics until you get to a spot where those mechanics don't really work either. It's nice to see Gungrave still living, but check out the gameplay footage for yourself and see if it's something that you want to invest in. I would say to pass for sure on both of these titles. Both Gungrave VR and Gungrave VR UN have a extensive tutorial mode. I'm cutting out the tutorial on both of these, just showing you some gameplay because it's super repetitive and it just really tells you how to use a gamepad to make different moves. So enjoy or skip the next 10 minutes or so of footage, and I'll be back with a recap at the end.
Seed, a drug that grants remarkable strength at the cost of one's humanity. Introduced by extraterrestrials known as the Methuselah, Seed was mass-produced by Corcione Garino. His greed left countless victims in its wake. I almost became one of those victims. After taking out Garino, we've continued to follow the trail of Seed wherever it takes us. We've chased every lead, no matter how thin. With time, we discovered the conspiracy to mass-produce and distribute Seed. A criminal syndicate in South City is behind everything. We believe that the reports of Orgmen we're receiving from around the world must be linked to this syndicate. Therefore, we are going to South City to stop the production of Seed. I can't stand by and let others become victims. We must eradicate it from the face of the earth. In order to retake the city, we have to get rid of Defender, the Orgmen in control. freed South City from the grips of Nazro, we began searching for other supply chains. Now, we've finally found one. An abandoned factory not far from the city, where seed is being produced in secret. No one could have guessed that this kind of place would be a seed factory. Grave, you know I can't forgive anyone who would try to spread this drug. So please, for all those who had fallen victim to seed, lend me your strength once more.
So, it begins again.
The basics of fighting. Sadly, we don't have time to get into a lot of detail. Move in whichever direction you like. Your movement will change depending on the terrain, but you'll get the hang of it. When you have trouble aiming, try changing your point of view. Jumping can help you out of a tight spot. By changing your point of view and pull the trigger, Cerberus will take care of the rest. Also be used to reflect projectiles. Time is running short, but I know you'll be back into the swing of things with some practice. I believe in you.
Alright, so lots of gunplay, lots of style, lots of Gungrave-esque moves, but also lots of PlayStation 2 era-ish graphics, and really no real VR need for the gameplay. I would have loved to have seen a sequel to Gungrave, combining the mechanics of these two somewhat pricey VR games, but for flat PC screens or for PlayStation 4 and not for VR. If they were going to make VR games, they needed to make it first person. They needed to go all out, and they didn't do that with these titles. As you can see from the footage, there's a little bit of varied gameplay, especially in the UN game, where it kind of moves to you can only move forward and backward and look back and forth. That didn't really translate well for virtual reality. Of course, I'm using a 3DOF headset. I don't know if that's what caused some of it to be clunky. I don't think so, because, you know, it followed my aim just as I expected it would. The WVR3 worked pretty well. One of the reasons why I wanted to test out these titles is there's a lot of text on black. So, the white text on black, there is a little bit of a faint glow around it, but it doesn't have the God rays per se that you would see with a Rift or even with an HTC Vive. I think that has to do with the lenses and the fact that it uses LCD screens. Overall, gameplay wise, I don't think I would recommend either of these Gungrave titles in VR, whether you have a PlayStation VR or a PC. If you're a huge fan of Gungrave, watch the anime, go back and play the old games. These ones might end up getting ported to standard PS4 or PC or get heavily discounted. That's really the only time I would ever suggest either one of these titles. They're pretty generic, fairly terrible, but well voice acted. Until next time, get out there and enjoy some VR for yourself, and thanks for watching.